I personally believe it's because police officers are being handcuffed more and being able to go out there and act proactively, work against the criminals in the inner city.
First of all, very few police officers are actually tried, convicted, and sentenced for killing civilians. So I don't think there's this narrative that, oh my God, the cops are getting locked up.
Yeah, no, Mark, you can't say that every time a police officer kills somebody, a cop has got to go to jail.
I didn't say that.
That's what your inference is here.
That's not my implication. Let me tell you what I'm saying. Okay. What I'm saying is that I don't buy into the narrative that so many cops are getting arrested now that they're scared to do their job. Cops almost never get arrested and charged, is what I'm saying.
All right. There is a #1 professional cop hater on television, in my opinion, Mark Lamont Hill. David Swerdlick, assistant editor at the Washington Post, joins us, PostEverything. And, of course, his section is the Outlook section. We're going to talk about that in a little while. But, David, welcome. So, you look at crime. Crime is up in New York City tremendously. Murder is up 19%. Baltimore, we've seen what Baltimore is going on. And nobody, by the way, robbed the drugs from a CVS in New York. I love that they're trying to say, oh, all the drugs that they robbed from the CVS are on the streets, so that's why there's so much crime. Crime is up all over the place. Why?
Well, look, Steve, right, and I've seen you've reported that out in Newsmax, right. There is a short-term hike in crime rates in a number of major U.S. cities, no question about that. But I think these guys that in the clip you just played are speculating. We don't really know that cops are doing a slowdown or that there's any particular thing out there that's happened in the last several months that's causing this resulting increase in crime. It might be a trend or it might not. To the extent that there is an increase because cops might be, we don't know, doing kind of a slowdown or they've rocked back on their heels, I would say shame on them, right? I mean, I don't know that that's what they're doing, but if that's the case, cops need to go out there and do their job. I understand that they have a dangerous job, but there's an easy remedy to not being accused of wrongdoing, and that's not to do things wrong. And
no, but
they've done wrong stuff.
But Darren Wilson didn't do anything wrong. I mean, you can't. And by the way, the cops in the Staten Island case didn't do anything wrong. So I mean, you can't say that.
Steve, I'll be the first one to say that I don't know what happened with Darren Wilson and Michael Brown. In the case of Eric Garner in Staten Island, Steve, I love you like a play cousin, but you are wrong about.
I don't want to get sidetracked on that. I mean, he resisted arrest. Once you resist arrest, all bets are off because they don't know if you're armed. There was a black police sergeant there. She didn't see them doing anything wrong.
And the black police sergeant was wrong not to intervene in that situation.
Okay. All right. And the grand jury was wrong, and everybody in authority was wrong. All right. I don't want to go there anymore. Fine. So what? So you say cops, shame on them. They're not doing their job. They're going by the letter of the law. Look in New York. In New York, you can't do stop and frisk the way you used to. So more people have guns. So more people are getting shot by those guns. It's common sense. When the media and, worst of all, your own city officials make villains out of the cops, Mayor de Blasio stood there and said, I fear for my own son's life because he's black. We worry every night that he'll get killed or hurt by a police officer. When that's how the city, your bosses, treat you as an officer, don't tell me you're not going to unconsciously at least pull back.
Steve, again, just so that I don't have people coming at me on Twitter, let's be clear. We don't know for sure what is going on in Baltimore or some of these other cities. But I think there's plenty of, skepticism to go around. If police in Baltimore, let's say, have pulled back, I think that they need to reflect upon what they're doing and realize that they are paid to protect and serve. If people in these communities in West Baltimore are just have decided that it's a free-for-all, that's on the citizens in some of those communities. I'm not leaving the criminal element unaccountable. They're accountable for their own behavior. And finally, I think what's fairly clear to say, Steve, and I think you and I would agree on this point, is that Chief Batts and Mayor Rawlings Blake do not seem to have a handle on the situation.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely true. What do you make, real quickly, of the Baltimore, the special, not special prosecutor, but the woman who, this is our time, this is your time, no justice, no peace thing, not wanting the autopsy results released in that controversial death?
Steve, I'm not up to speed on all the reporting in that story, but let's just say you're talking about Mosby, right?
Yeah.
So look, with Prosecutor Mosby, look, this is the way I see it. I think that she's taken too much heat from people on the conservative side of the aisle for bringing charges forth. On the other hand, if her case falls apart on her, then she will have to answer to the national media, to people in Baltimore. You know, she's someone who, on the one hand, has just demonstrated, I think, some political moxie, but on the other hand, I think you and I agree on at least this much. She has to do a prosecutor's job and file things step by step.
If her case falls apart, what is that? And the city of Baltimore, and I think it will, that's just my guess, unfortunately, erupts and burns. How much culpability does this woman have?
Well, look, I don't put it on her if the city erupts and burns. What I will say is that, look, as I've said many times on your show before, Steve, there is no justification in these situations for violence. Demonstrations, yes. Protests, yes. People expressing their viewpoint, yes. People expressing righteous indignation, yes, but not burning down CVS's and burning down stores. There's no justification for that in what we've seen. But look, the citizens have to be more accountable, and their elected leadership and police especially have to be more accountable. To answer your question about Mosby, look, I think what we've seen in a lot of these cases, and I don't know that's the case with Mosby, is that prosecutors and investigators seem not to know what to charge, right? I mean, I don't know if what happened in the back of that police van was murder or manslaughter. It certainly seems to have been negligent. A man died in the custody of police in the back of their van and arrested for charges that were not serious charges. So that seems negligent. Should those guys go to prison? I don't know, because I don't know all the facts yet.
All right, the Outlook section of the Washington Post this weekend. Am I going to see the name John Edwards in there?
You're going to see the name John Edwards. We're fronting the Sunday Outlook section of Washington Post. You know, this ties into all the 2016 candidates. Jim Tankersley is making the case that on one level or another, embedded in the message of all the presidential candidates on both sides of the aisle, is this John Edwards message. John Edwards, you know, had
the two Americas, right?
The two Americas point from 2008. It wasn't a winning message for him, but everybody's trying to glom on to that.
Let me ask you a question as we depart here. Chris Hayes on MSNBC and one of the senators is talking about how the Republicans, Scott Walker's having his Todd Aiken moment because he's signing an abortion bill. After 20 weeks, you can't have an abortion.
Okay.
Didn't Bernie Sanders have that moment and nobody's talking about it when he said women want to be gang raped?
Look, you know, Bernie Sanders, I think the press has to be fair and balanced, right? So Bernie Sanders should be in for his share of criticism for what he wrote.
And why is he not? And why is he not? We got 20 seconds.
I think he's apologized. If you want to argue that there's been more criticism on Scott Walker, I'd say it's because
he didn't apologize. He said it was poorly written and it was 40 years ago. That's what he told Chuck Todd.
I stand corrected. Scott Walker is someone who has a chance. I don't think Bernie has.
All right, David, have a great weekend. Thank you very much. We'll read you at the Washington Post. Up next, Bill Kristol. Don't go away.